Yes, I'm going to say why this gender-neutral standard is a bad one, why we want equality amongst genders and not just sort of eradicate genders. And secondly, I'm going to talk about why how this goes into one's identity and why that's important. We should allow people to keep it, even if it follows a gender role. First, some rebuttal. We disagree with a lot of what the first proposition has said, because what they basically said, their basic notion is, we believe that a teacher shouldn't call a black student a nigger. We shouldn't call a woman a bitch. So therefore, he shouldn't either call a woman a woman. And that's the same thing. And we believe that that's not a quite clear assertion to make. Because the thing there, and it became clear when the second speaker talked about Catholicism. We have here communities, Catholic schools, who are happy communities, who are people who want to be there, parents who put their kids there, kids who then go off to Catholic universities and want to be in these communities. And they say they're sexist, implying that they're bad, that these communities shouldn't exist. They shouldn't have these roles that they have there, and they shouldn't live in these communities. They shouldn't be able to define for themselves of how they want their education to be, how they want their society, communities they live in to be, but we should define it for them and tell them that the way they're doing it is bad, they should change. No, thank you. So they are the ones being aggressive and telling you how to live your life. They are the ones who are trying to assert and tell you that you are born in a certain way. Secondly, we want to go in there and say that gender roles are different from sex. You seem to not really acknowledge that. The gender role is the role that, yes, it has a sexual connotation, but it's a role in society that you have, and that a lot of people have accepted because they want to. So, no, thank you. What we are asserting on this side is that the bad words, the bad type of things, the racism, the sexism, yes, that shouldn't be taught in the schools. But there's a lot of positive things that comes out of gender roles. Otherwise, so many people wouldn't carry them up. It's not a subjugation of the entire population that some sort of, I don't know, conspiracy keeps this above us against all our wills. A lot of gender roles have a lot of good aspects about them that people want to continue to have. And what we're on our side is saying is that we should allow people to define themselves. And if they define themselves within a community, that's fine too. And if they do it within the school, that's fine too. No, thank you. So, so saying that if you self-identify as a woman, we don't think that's a bad word. We think that you should be fine to be able to do so. And if you're a community doing so, we think you should be able to fine to do so too. No, thank you. And we just want to point out, when it comes to this thing, we're on the right track. We're moving towards this acceptance of different roles. Accepting that I can choose my role for myself. And as a community, we might have a role, choose our roles and decide for that as well. And that is fine too. And not have someone else come forth. As long as I choose to be part of that community, we think that is fine. Okay. So going on to my main point here. The fact that gender-neutral standards are bad rules to have. Why is this? Because if we have different gender roles as an active part of society, and we do, we can criticize them, they're visible, we can talk about it, we can talk about inequality between them. But if they, as on the site, want to remove them completely, have a completely gender-neutral role, not accept that they exist, then we have a new standard, a gender-neutral standard. And whose standard are we talking about here? They're talking about, oh, be a fair, nice standard, the guiding principle of one monolithic way of having education. Well, what kind of standard will that be? Well, it will be made by those who are in power in society today. We have a paternalistic sort of patriarchal society today. They're the ones who are deciding the standard. They're the ones who decided the standards that's based in education already. Education is based around people living in their minds slightly to their left. It's not based about a holistic view of humanity, of having different kinds of education. No, it's very much top-down. This is how it is. And they're trying to make that standard into the one standard, the one thing you have to live up to. And we think that is the thing that limits people. That is the thing that's not accepting towards people. That is the thing that goes against equality. Why? Because it says you can also. And we're saying that, yes, of course we are not teachers going up to women and saying, you're bad at math, have good luck at the test. No, but we're saying that if you acknowledge, for example, that a lot of women are doing badly at math, then you can bring that up. You can bring up that issue. But if you're having as a standard that you should have to be good at math no matter what, And if you're not good at math, well, it's obviously not a gender thing because we're gender neutral in the school. You're hiding the issues. You're not bringing them up. I'll take your point, sir.
Yeah, if your point is individual choice, there are two scenarios. Either the family already propagates the same values, or they propagate values that do not allow the child to make a different choice from a stereotype, and giving an alternative environment just legitimizes two options that weren't there before.
Yeah. Parents have crazy ideas and they'll transfer them onto their children, and that's bad. Of course we think it's bad that they transfer bad ideas. What we're saying is it's not necessarily bad ideas. It's not necessarily bad ideas if I'm a woman and I want to wear high heels and lipstick. That is not necessarily something bad. Yes, it's a gender stereotype, it's a gender role, but you're the ones who are certain that any woman who wants that must be out of her mind, because why would she ever want to perpetrate this role? If I tell my son, oh yes, these pants look good on you, they're saying, oh, you're perpetrating a standard, why not buy him a skirt? I'm saying, no! I should be able to propagate the things that I find okay. And yes, we as a state might think a lot of things are bad, but fundamentally we believe that the parents should have the basic choice, basic right to make most of these choices. Not to the extreme, not to, forcing them to beating their kids or, doing other things that are really bad. But when it comes to how to live their life, how to self-actualize, we do allow parents to influence their children. But when it comes to this, we want to point out that gender roles, they will never disappear from society. They may change, but they won't disappear. Why? Because people like them. Because people want to have some part of them. Some people dislike them, and we shouldn't force them to accede to it. But a lot of people like these roles. Because they want to cherish them as a sense of belonging, as a sense of identity. Which is even acknowledged by hardcore feminists like myself. So, with the lipstick and that reference there. So that's also difference from racism. So we want to propagate not that there are no gender roles, that we're neutral, but that people are different, but we should tolerate each other. That's the sort of standard we should set out. That yes, there are roles, yes, that's the reality, but we are equal in the sense that we should tolerate each other and respect each other's choices. For these measures, I beg you to oppose this motion. Thank you.